Joining us now is Kachi Ofia with stories trending around the world. Hello, Kachi. Let the cruise begin.
Good morning, Dr. Bati. Hello, Adesuwa. Hello, Rufai.
Catch the fire.
Yes, catching the fire from the FCT. Let's begin. Reactions continue to trail the indictment of Nigeria's super cop and Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, in the Hushpuppi internet fraud case. Now, this is coming after the U.S. court issued a warrant of arrest for Abba Kyari over his role in a series of fraud committed by the notorious internet fraudster Ramon Abbas, a.k.a. Hushpuppi. Well, Abba Kyari was indicted of receiving bribes from Mr. Abbas to arrest a member of the syndicate in Nigeria. Now, a person who apparently would have jeopardized that deal if he hadn't been arrested. Now, although Abba Kyari has denied receiving any form of bribe from Hushpuppi and only, recommending a tailor, for Hushpuppi and paying the tailor only 300,000 naira, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has ordered an internal review of the allegations against Abba Kyari. Now, the recent revelation has set social media abuzz. Let's take a look at some of those reactions to this situation. Now, one tweet from O Aromaye on Instagram said, LOL, that's laughing out loud. His opinion on this is a decent law-abiding and regulatory country with fairness would at least suspend him. The fact that he even acknowledged a tailor transaction alone should lead to suspicion while conducting investigations. This is what he had to say amongst the plethora of other reactions to this incident, especially when you look at the situation, surrounding the case and why he was, considered a serious risk defendant. The fact that there was a man who was arrested, and not only was this man arrested, but according to the court documents, a phrase that read, this, the Abba Kyari, that is, will not allow this man who goes by the name Kenny Chibuzo Vincent, will not allow his girlfriend pay to get him out of prison as they would have allowed in a normal arrest. So that also has raised a lot of questions. What is a normal arrest? And if you really say that is not a normal arrest, then what was that exactly? So there's so many questions that have trailed this reaction, lots of negatives in terms of the fact that why is this still just, a conversation? Why is this still being investigated? Why hasn't anything more been done? And then there's some positives with people like Femi Fani-Kayode saying that this is just an attack against the reputation, of Abba Kyari.
A lot has been said about this, even on the show today. But Kachi, for those who regard the Nigeria police force as a corrupt institution, this is certainly not coming as a surprise to them. In 2019, SERAP, in its anti-corruption survey in the country, found out that the Nigeria police force was the most corrupt government institution in the country, followed by the judiciary. So while it may not come as a surprise to many, perhaps it comes as a disappointment that one of the country's most decorated cop, super cop, and I've heard that phrase used a lot in the last 24 hours, is in this situation. Again, we have said time and time again in the course of this program today, innocent until proven guilty, but it just looks so messy, Kachi, very messy, I must say. And I think that every step that the government takes surrounding this issue will be looked at keenly, especially by critics who say the administration's corruption fight has been nothing but hot hair. So fingers crossed on how this plays out.
I mean, the big question for me, Kachi, is who watches the watchman? That's the big question we should answer in this country. And I say that because before the House of Representatives of a country can come together to award somebody and give him a standing ovation, who watches the watchman? This man is a celebrated super cop in this country. We can't move away. Or if you want to be funny, celebrated Surah the tailor, or Abba Kutu, or better than any Savile Row tailor if you want to be funny. But this is not a laughing matter. It is a critical matter because generations yet unborn are being swayed by the level of fraud and corruption in this country. If you read the court depositions, Kachi, 69 pages of those documents, you'll be shocked. There are hard facts on ground, including telephone numbers and exchanges and WhatsApp messages, TikTok messages, and the bank transaction details. A lot of people forget that all of this came out after Hushpuppi did a plea bargain. And he's going to get some time in jail. And because of that, part of his plea bargain is to tell the truth. And that's why they can open these cases against him. So when somebody is saying they're trying to dent somebody's reputation, you wonder, what is the reputation in the first place? 3 things I'd like to point out there. Interaction. Even when the girlfriend said, let me try to bail him, there was an exchange between Abbas and Kyari that says they will not understand that this is not a normal case. There was even an exchange that Abbas, that's Hushpuppi, did tell the girlfriend of Vincent that he's going to transfer 100,000 naira to aid the facilitation of the release of Vincent. And while he went at the back to say they will keep him there. What is it more that we need to know? There was also a time that it was said that Kyari went to Dubai and Hushpuppi sent a driver to him. Another lesson I picked up from that exchange was the case of Fashola, Rukayat Fashola. When a certain amount of money was sent to her, she used the word, let me clean up the money. And this is what a lot of these fraudsters do. They clean up the money by investing the money in legitimate businesses. What are the quick targets? Clubs. So when you see clubs and you see the likes and all of that, these are ways to clean up money. They will clean up money in the real estate sector. These are things we should track. So it goes back to that narrative of what society do we want to leave for the generation yet unborn. When we talk of people spraying money and doing all sorts in society, extravagance of wealth, and we call them to order, people say our mouth definitely stinks so bad. Yes, our mouth might stink, but our mouth can stink if we don't want society to stink. Because as it is today, society is stinking and reeking of corruption and illicit money.
It's a whole mess. And I like the fact that you brought on the fact that society reeks of corruption at the moment. We have a video much later on that would highlight that fact. But for now, let's head out to a quick break. We'll be right back with some more What's Trending on the Morning Show. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We've been taking a look at the stories trending within the country at the moment. And now, Rufai, just so you can land on your points before we went on that quick break.
All right, I think I'd said it all. We just need to save society. And the time to save society is now. And due process should be done. He should have his time. Dr. Patti.
Okay, very quickly. I mean, I've spoken about twice on this same topic this morning, but just to add a few more things. You asked the question, Rufai, quid ipsos custodiet custodes, who watches the watchdog? And I think that, the indication of this particular case, which is an embarrassment, a complete embarrassment to Nigeria, to the Nigerian police, and to, the institutions involved here in Nigeria, it should be a wake-up call. And in this regard, particularly for the police, to do a lot more in terms of introspection. What system does the Nigerian police, what system does it have in place? What oversight system does it have in place? Such that it will not be possible for privileged, well-positioned police officers to abuse the system in the manner in which it has been indicated. Don't forget that it is not just, Abba Kyari, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, that has been, fingered in this matter. Consistently, in the report by the FBI, there is reference to my team. Who are these members of his team? And I think that, now that the Inspector General of Police has set up a committee to look into the matter, other members of that team have to be called out. They may not have been identified directly by the FBI, but the Nigerian police and the Nigerian government also has a responsibility to investigate this allegation of abuse of office. Who is that particular police officer who acted as the front into whose account was paid? Such a person should be identified. And what role Did other members of the team play? And is it possible that there are other Hushpuppis and what's the alternative to puppy or whatever?
Woodbury?
Whatever. You know, that there are other Hushpuppis, you know, who are controlling senior officers within the police. That's the first point. The second point is that people often make the, ethnic points when you have this issue of corruption or, you know, gender arguments. But in this particular case, it will not appear applicable. If you look at the document from the FBI that was filed at the Central District Court in California, look at the names. Ramon Abbas, that's clearly a Yoruba name. Abdurrahman Imran Juma, okay, that sounds like a name from the northern part of the country. Then Vincent Kelly Chibuzo. Chibuzo is probably from the southeastern part of the country. Then Abba Kyari is from Borno, Borno State. There is Rukayat Mutunrayo Fashola, that's a Yoruba name. There is Bola Chitotawa Kalitu Agbabiaka. So you see that even in this conspiracy to commit fraud, there's national character. There's some kind of diversity. Well, at this one I may say there's nobody from Edo Kingdom there. But, you know, we're dealing with a very serious problem that cuts across all regions, all parts of Nigeria.
I think the word we're looking for was hush kitten.
Okay, I think I'll leave the point.
I like how we're starting to, you know, create alterations of this.
Go ahead, Kachi. Do we have another story?
I think without being biased to any ethnicity, the next story I think you will all find very, very interesting. Now, about a week or two ago, we spoke about the situation that happened in Oba, Anambra State, where we saw Obi Kubana, you know, in a very lavish funeral ceremony, you know, celebrating the life of his mother who's passed away. Well, now, a video of a Nigerian federal lawmaker who goes by the name Honourable Ibrahim Abunna spraying money at members of his constituency has made the rounds. Now, the lawmaker represents Mafa, Dikwa and Konduga federal constituency in Borno State in the House of Representatives, and he threw waves of cash from his balcony, of course, to the joy and glamour of the people picking it up. Let's take a look at that video. Now, it's sad to see this, quite honestly, because when the Oba situation happened, for a lot of people, they looked at it from the ethnic perspective, like, oh yeah, you see the Igbos, especially the Igbos from Anambra State, are very flamboyant. They like to show off. But then it has happened over time, not just with the Igbos, but with members of other cultures as well. So this is obviously not an ethnic situation. It's more of a character dysfunction.
An ethnic dimension. I wrote a piece on it, which people tried to twist to say it was ethnic. There was nothing about ethnicity. The basic point is that, look, when you abuse the naira, it's an offense. Under Section 21, subsections 1 to 4 of the CBN Act, you cannot sell the naira, you cannot step on it, you cannot deface it, you are not allowed to treat the naira anyhow. And the punishment for it is 6 months imprisonment or a fine of 50,000 or both. But the problem, of course, is that perhaps that particular law may have to be reviewed, because if the punishment is 50,000 naira, maybe it's not enough disincentive. The second point, of course, is that, well, this naira plunking, you know, abuse of the naira will appear to be another, you know, dead law in Nigeria. There are some laws that are dead because the test of a law is in its implementation. I'm not aware of anybody who has ever been arrested or punished for abusing the naira. It's like the law on bigamy. When I drive in front of the marriage registry, sometimes some of the male faces look familiar. I would say, I thought I saw this kind of face, you know, about a year ago, who came to marry. But the law on bigamy says you can't marry twice under the act. So there are some dead laws, and this is probably one of such examples. In this particular case, this is a politician. Both the politician and the people there, they are both guilty, because our politics has been heavily monetized. And we make the point all the time. The electorate have a responsibility to make sure that their votes count. If you go to a politician and you go and collect money, then when the politician gets there, he thinks that, just throwing the naira to you is his own form of a constituency project. We need to discourage the monetization of the political process in Nigeria. The third point, of course, has to do with poverty. People are very poor. Unless you lift these 100 million people out of poverty, you still have Nigerians going to stand in front of the residence of politicians to collect peanuts that will not serve their purpose, that will not help the system, and that will further discredit the political process in Nigeria.
Actually, I just hope that this is not constituency projects. This is not what we will hear is constituency projects. And what infuriates me in seeing that particular video is that the lawmaker was busy smiling. What was funny in this entire situation to him? And I totally agree with Dr. Abbas. This servant, this slave master relationship that is currently being practiced has to be reworked. The politicians are the servants. They are there to serve the people, not the other way around. Until the people understand the power that they wield, we will continue to see despicable acts such as this. And this is a lawmaker who should know better.
For me, the people are poor because their politicians have made them poor. Because their politicians collect the constituency money or constituency project money and they keep it in their homes. ICPC did a report 2 years ago about how people spend constituency funds. Nothing has been done about the report. I don't see why the CBN can't start by arresting this man and going from there. He's a government official. He knows the law. I don't see why he can't be arrested for naira flunking. And the fact that politicians think they can constantly impoverish people and spray them money like they are animals, we can't keep treating human beings like animals in this country. In a country where over 100 million people can't afford food to eat, we can't keep treating people like animals in this country. This is not charity. This is madness. This is dehumanization. Can the politician subject his own children to what he has done? What kind of society are we building? And we talk now, people say our mouths are stinking. My mouth will continue to stink. I will continue to speak the truth until society changes. We can't build a country this way. You impoverish people, you deny them of their right, deny them of what is meant to them, then you use their own taxpayers' money and government fund and spread, and you expect them to be picking the money on the ground like animals? What society is this?
Thank you very much, Kachi. We'll see you again next week.